Today we're going to be producing house music in the style of artists like MK and Simon Doty. The reason is, I love this style of music, and Simon Doty has released on Purified Records, as have several of our Accelerator students like Jack Emery, who's now DJing with Nora and Pure, and HAUMS, who has released over 16 top 100 hits, including hitting the #1 spot in Beatport. You can check both of their music out below. Today we're going to go into everything, including programming the beats, an amazing uplifting piano chord progression, choosing and processing vocals, mixing, arrangement, and so much more. As usual, you can download the project file, all the samples completely free using the link below this video. So without further ado, let's hop into the door and get it done. So easiest thing to do is to select a key to work in. I'm going to select, B flat minor. Just because this is easy to program in any key. Once you choose a scale and hit scale mode, boom, it kind of folds everything down so you can't really hit any wrong notes. Now the next thing I'm going to do is work out a rhythm. This is really important, a syncopated rhythm that dances against the kick drum. And there's a very special clue I can give as to how to do this. Makes it way easier. So let me have a sip and I'll show you. Right, what we're going to do is find the root note of the track, which is the A sharp or the B flat, same note. We want part of our piano pattern to skip 2 16th notes each time. And by 16th, I mean a bar, which is made of 4 beats, like boom, 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 boom. If that's split into 16ths, that length of time is called 1/16. And what happens if you skip 2 16ths each time, you end up with this really cool syncopated rhythm that kind of dances around the kick. Like that. So we can just copy and paste that rhythm. Once we've got a rhythm that works really well with the kick, that's going to make everything else that I'm going to show you today way easier. So next thing I want to do is just work out 2 chords, and I have got my magic list here, but I've also got these secrets that I want to share with you. I want to work out 2 chords that just create a certain feeling, and piano house is all about like a happy summer vibes. You very rarely get like a sad melancholic piano house track. So I'm just going to choose 2 notes to hit, and we're going to dance between those 2 chords. Simplicity is key here. 1, 2, 3. Let's go to the D. So we go from the first chord to the 4th chord, like so, and then back again. And I'm actually going to extend a couple of these notes to create a bit more of an interesting pattern. I think that's going to work better. And then to build out the chords, we're going to start with normal triads. So this is basically skipping a note each time if we've got scale mode folded. So let's just skip a note again, and then that is a basic triad, like so. But with piano house, very often you're using what's known as extended chords. And if this is the 1, the 3, and the 5, and that's because that's the first position of this scale, this is the 2nd, that's the 3rd, that's the 4th, and that's the 5th. An extended chord is just going to extend up to a 7th or a 9th or an 11th. So let's build that up to a 7th and even a 9th, see how that sounds. So that's 9 scale positions above the root note of that chord. Ooh, instantly yes. So let's just do the same for this chord. We'll put the standard triad in, like so. The 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, bow, 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 super sharp, sharp. Like instantly you get those piano house vibes. But because all of this is very close together on the keyboard, what we can do is actually spread some of these notes to different octaves, and that's going to allow more frequency, clarity. It's going to avoid things getting too muddy in one position. So I'm just going to repeat that. No, I won't repeat that yet. I'm going to do that thing I just showed you first. So we're going to create chord inversions. So what I'm going to do is just take a couple of the notes up to a different octave, but I want to keep the lowest note of each chord as the lowest note, because that's going to really anchor it and make it make sense to people. But let's try and move, I don't know, the 5th up an octave. And then these are actually sharing two of the same notes, which makes things sound more cohesive. And I'm going to create a sus chord here, which basically means I'm moving that third up to the fourth position. Again, gives you some instant piano house vibes. Let's try and move another note up an octave. And we can hear it's really opening up now. So let's try and get these notes up there as well. You can start to hear what you want it to do as well. If a note kind of speaks to you, just get it in there, see if it works. Like that. Now, one other thing I want to say on these chords before we move on, what we're going to do is count how many notes there are in each chord. And usually in a progression, if every chord has the same amount of notes, it just sounds a bit more cohesive. If you go from a chord that's got like 3 notes in it, like this, to one with 6 notes in it, this one's going to sound way fuller than this one. So that's why I always try and get a similar amount of notes in each chord. So for this one, I might have 6. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want 6 in this one as well. So let's put that B in there. Lovely. Oh, so what I'm going to do is just copy that. And we don't want to have too many chords in a piano house track. We just want to get a vibe that we really feel and just keep working with that. So I'm going to save this. What should we call this? Piano house, Simon Doty. Let's call it Dote on Me, My Lovely Piano. Stop it. No. We're going to call this Piano Grouse. It's done. So what I'm going to do now is just add a little bit of room reverb from an auxiliary channel, a short reverb. It's going to give it a real feeling of space. Nice. So when we add everything else that I'm about to show you, this is really going to come alive. So next thing I'm going to work on is the bass. And I think I will just use the stock plugins for this. And don't worry, I will freeze the piano track, so even if you don't have this M1 plugin, you can still use it, still listen to it. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the wavetable. I would usually use Serum, that's what we usually teach in the Accelerator, but the one where I was just using wavetable seemed to go down well before, so whatevs, that's what I'm doing. And we're going to keep it simple. I just want to use the 2 root notes from the piano, and that's going to be our bass line. And when we build our groove out, which I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes, it's all going to make sense. But instead of going up, I think I'll go down to the D. So that's going to be our bass line, just a simple sine wave. I'll have to knock it down a couple of octaves, but I like to program the bass lines in 1 or 2 octaves above where they'll finally be, because you can hear what notes they're hitting easier. So I'll change that to monophonic, so none of the notes bleed into each other. And just tighten it up a bit with the release. Make sure I've got a nice full sustain. And let's take it down a couple of octaves. I think that's as low as we can go and have it still sound good. So now I'm going to add some sidechain compression so we can dance that against the kick. Got to speed up, Will, got to speed up. Let's call this SC comp. And I'm going to take the sidechain input from my sidechain trigger track, like so. In the Accelerator, we actually use Shaper Box or LFO tool. There are a few reasons for that, but if you're doing everything with stock plugins, this is the way to do it. So I programmed in a little rim shot that plays when every kick is playing, and this is the important bit. I've set it to have sends only as output rather than the main track, and that means we never hear it. It's just going to be used to trigger our sidechain compressors. Now we've got this. That's the kick. It's kind of fighting with the bass at the moment. So now we can duck that bass whenever the kick's playing. We've got this weird click in there, so that happens sometimes with a sine wave. So I'm just going to take out the high end so we lose all the click. Job done, nice and simple. Now I want to make sure that my bass is averaging about -20. And that's usually a good balance against the kick if the kick's peaking at -12. So now let's put that sidechain compressor on the piano as well, and then we can set that to dance nicely against the kick and the bass. Just a little bit of duck, whack. And then we can filter this down, which we'll do later on when it comes to the arrangement. Like, you want to get a vibe as soon as possible, really, when you're producing house music or dance music. Yeah, you want to try and get something that's giving you the feels ASAP. Right, now let's get those drums in. You could use a top loop for this, but I'm actually going to program in the drums so I can show you how to do it. So I'm going to go to my favorite sounds. Having a favorite sound folder just makes life way better, frankly, because you start to develop your own signature sound, and it means it's a lot quicker to produce as well. So I'm going to bring in this short, sharp clap sound. I'm going to program that in on every other kick. Classic house. Right, next thing we need to do is get the open hats in there, and then the all-important skippy snares, and I'll show you some tricks about how to put them in the right position. Oh, thirsty work, all this excitement. I love making dance music. It's brilliant. Thanks for watching my videos. Right, now let's go and find an open hat. I'm going to go and just find something quite splashy. I think this, something like that. And I'm going to actually layer it with, again, a classic 909. And these are really based on a classic 909 anyway. But I'm just going to layer them. Yeah, I'm going to layer this one with a 909 open hat to make it sound a little bit more modern. So any of these artists that I mentioned earlier, like MK, would have this kind of open hat in there. But what I'm going to do is show you how to add movement and interest, because this could get quite static and boring, all right? A loop like that. So we've got this. Okay, we've got something going on with the open hat. I think we need to take some of the low frequencies out, like so. And now I'm going to show you how to add that interest that I just promised you. And this is really important if you want to create something that's not static. So again, I'm going to go to my favorites. I'm going to go to open hats and choose a 909 open hat, classic. And I'm going to take out some of the low end because it's quite a dirty, filthy little signal. So let's take out some of the low end. Just clean it up a bit. And what I'm going to do is just choose classic mode on the sampler, and I'm going to keep the sustain full and the release right down. So when the MIDI note stops, the sound stops. So at the moment we've got this layered up with our other sounds. I'm going to add a little bit of room reverb to that. In fact, I'll leave that. I'll show you how to do that in a second. First, I'm going to program this in. So I'm going to have it short, 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 but then for the last one of every 4, I'm going to extend that open hat slightly. Something so simple is just going to add movement and interest to our drums. And now to create this room reverb for the drum rack, what I've done is, if you open up this routing button here in Ableton, hit that R button, right click, create return chain, and then choose one of your return chains that you've already created, like so. This little send control will show if you hit the send button. And now we can send out a separate amount of reverb for each of these different drums. So now you can hear, let's add some for the clap. Let's tighten it up a tiny bit. But listen to the difference. This is with room reverb off, and this is on. Just ties everything together. Now, the all-important 16th groove. This is really important for those drums. So we've got it going very kind of... So what we want to do is add that 16th groove, and the way I'm going to do that is just pick some kind of interesting hat sound, closed hat sound this time, put it into my 16th hat slot, and then program it in on every beat. And this is how you add movement to this. So now let's listen to it with this. Let's add a little bit more sizzle to that hat. Now we're getting there. But with this 16th hat, it's very all the same volume. So what I'm going to do is add another sidechain compressor from the exact same trigger, which is that sidechain trigger track. And I'm going to just duck that slightly and listen to the difference it makes. So this is happening instead of this. So it's ducking against the kick, and that just adds more movement and interest. Let's add some room reverb. Now, for the part I was going to tell you about the skippy snares. This is where all of the fun and interest happens, and this is where it's going to start making you want to kind of dance. I'm going to go and find a snare. Something a bit duller than the clap. That's cool. I'm going to use that. It kind of sounds quite lo-fi and crunchy. Ooh, there's some sub rumble in there, so I'm going to make sure I filter that out. Naughty little thing. Look at all that low frequency below 100 Hertz. That's all we really need. And now I'm going to use the 2 snare skip points. And if you've done my new music theory course, then you know about the 2 snare skip points. But if we put a snare 1/16 before a beat or 1/16 after, they're the 2 snare skip points. And they can be used for other sounds as well, but again, it's a bit in depth for this video. But just have a listen to this. And it can be quiet. In fact, I might layer up a snare so it also plays when the main clap is playing, because it's going to add more cohesion to the whole sound. So I'm going to take it out and change it the second time it runs through, add a little bit of room reverb, and check out this vibe. And that last one, I'm going to add a double, cheeky little double for a turnaround, which you'll hear in a second, but we need to really make this gel together. And the final sound that I want to use is another classic house sound, and that is a rim shot. That kind of sound. So I'm going to use that rim shot, and this is going to tie everything together. So this really is how you get that lovely You know when you get a crunchy rhythm that makes you want to dance and there's so much going on you can't really determine what's going on? Well, it's all these careful layers that are quite quiet, but they all build up together to create something that sounds really cohesive. Don't want to use too many though. Here we go. Nice. So when you've got that bass going along, it creates a really nice groove. We're going to spice these drums up as well. Got a really tickly throat. Need some tea. Stat, I need tea. Give me tea in the comments. Give me a big fat tea. Ah, my throat. I've got so much to show you still on my magic list. We've kind of barely almost started. Right, let's speed things up then. I'm going to loop that. And that's so we can change that piano chord the second time it goes through. So this is going to create a little bit of interest. I know I said we just want to repeat the same two chords, not overcomplicate it, but we can add a slight variation after it's played through once or twice. In fact, maybe that's what it should be. That sustained chord, or suspended chord, sorry, doesn't play through until the second time. So then it's more like this. Yeah, that's better. See, sometimes less is more. There we go, duplicate it. Now, the next most important thing with this kind of track is going to be the vocals. That's really going to kind of pull everything together.
But I'm not going to show you the vocals because I'm a little tease.
So what I am going to show you is that I want you to give me a hell yeah or an amen brother if you're enjoying this, and let me know what style you want me to cover next in the comments below. I take influence from what our Accelerator students are requesting, but I do also look at the YouTube comments, so please let us know. Right. There's something we need before we get the vocals, which is going to tie everything together, and that is a cheeky little synth riff. Again, I'm going to use Wavetable for this. And what we want to do is have like a repeating motif. Again, we don't want to overcomplicate things. So I'm going to call this synth riff. I might have to have a pause and go and get some water actually. So what I'm going to do is create a really short plucky sound. So short decay. And we can make it sound good in a minute, but I just want to get the notes in first. And most of it's dancing around the root note, which is the A sharp or the B flat. That's going to sound the most cohesive with our chords and bass line. So, again, all happening on the 16th, and it's as simple as that. Now I just want to repeat that. And then we'll get the sounding a bit more interesting. So this is the sound. Let's turn off the bass and the... But we need to make this sound interesting. So let's do some work here. I like that triangle sound. Let's add some movement. We'll use a envelope, go to the matrix, and start having it affect these. I'm just experimenting for a nice timbre I like. A little bit of stereo width, never hurts anyone. Apart from Billy bass, sometimes it hurts Billy bass. Not Billy bass, that's something altogether different. But that's sounding pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit of release. Going to add an EQ. Take out everything under 120 or so. Now I'm going to add even more interest. Even more interest, I hear you ask. Yes, even more interest. So the way I'm going to do that is with an echo. Ping pong. And I want want a little bit more bite to this sound, so I might layer up an extra. Yes! That's so nice. A little bit of sidechain compressor. Never hurt anyone. Maybe not. I want it really floaty. Ready? Ready? No, you're not ready. Okay then. I'll let you know. Ready? Give me some reverb on that. Yes. Give me a different filter type. Filthier. Filterier. Take out the low end so it doesn't fight with our bass. All about the simplicity. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're cooking, as they say, with gas. But next thing we need is some very tasty vocals. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use Loop Cloud, and I'm just going to put in the... That's not Loop Cloud. That's Loop Cloud. I'm going to put in the key that we're working in, which is B flat minor, and I've searched for some vocals, and rather than the particular tempo, I'm listening out for the vibe more than anything. You need something that's really uplifting for this. Usually a female vocal goes really well with the frequencies that you would have in a piano house track. So let's have a listen. I could sync this actually using Loop Bridge. Oh, I'm soaring higher. Well, that's like amazing vocal, but why are the levels all over the place? That's got more levels than Avicii. R.I.P. Tim. We need to like lock that down. So I'm going to just drag that in. There we go. You can use my special affiliate link for Loop Cloud if you wish to help support the channel. Thank you. It's got some great sounds on it, but this one needs the levels sorting out. So what I'm going to do is make sure it is synced correctly. So it tells us it's 125 BPM. Our track is 126 BPM, which means we are going to have to do some warping. So I'll hit Warp, Complex Pro. It's already got 126 BPM. It's worked it out automatically. So this should now be synced to our track. I'm just going to make sure we start at the right place. Won't you take me to a place? Won't you take me to a place? That's going to be our downbeat. Take me to... No, I'm not going to take you anywhere unless you get in time. All right? Then they're the rules. So if you're very well behaved and you get in time, I will take you to the place. Take me to a place. Oh, just a place. Not picky. Okay, I like it. Now let's tweak over the start point. Won't you take me to a place that I've dreamed of? Yes, I will, because you've got yourself in time. That's the hook. That Take Me Higher, that's the hook right there, right there. I'm going to have that. I'll do something with... That is going to be a very cool hook. Let's make this vocal sound good though, because the levels are a bit all over the place. It sounds like it's quite an old recording. So let's have a listen. Take me higher. So what I'm going to do is just compress it. Take me higher. EQ it, compress it. Take me higher. Like this is a basic job. Take me higher. Take me higher. And actually, that higher bit if we zoom in, we can see that it's just a bit quieter there. So I'm going to actually manually just level it out a bit, like so. So now that bit is closer in level to the words either side of it, and then I'm going to have to blend them together so it's not a big sudden jump.
Take me higher.
The best way to sort out the vocal levels is to manually try and get them more or less how you want them before you even hit any compressors. So let's colour this purple, the natural colour of the human throat, on the inside, not the outside. You're not some weird prehistoric bird. And then let's get the timing right on this. Add some room reverb, again, ties everything together. This is going to be at like our effects channel, I think, this one. And the way I'm going to do that is just add a delay on there that's going to echo out over time. I think, higher, higher. I guess that's a 1 second. Notes. Ping pong. Reverb. Tighten in the stereo field a bit so it's not too wide. Yes. Let's add another octave to this riff so it really sparkles. That's the one. Yes, like that's a vibe right there. Okay, next thing I want to do is add. Firstly, I'm going to kind of get these vocals sounding not rubbish as well. Main vocal, purple, throat color. Get the same level of compression on there really. I could go in and tweak all of the words, but I'm just trying to show you how to get something sounding good. And I'll probably do more in a bit when we get to the arrangement. So let's have a listen. Yeah, we'll start there. That sounds cool. Okay, you know, don't soar too much.
I wanna taste your imagination. A little fun, it never hurt, it's just temptation.
Ooh, righty ho. Okay. I like the cut of your jib. I like the cut of her jib. Right. Next we're gonna add a sustained string, because that, my friends, is going to be the difference between not a true house track and a true house track. So we're going to get, this is a really nice way to tie a track together, especially if you want that old school feel. So I'm going to choose a string. I'm going to I really like the Ableton pack strings, actually orchestral strings. Let's go for a strings ensemble. That'll do. And I'm just going to hold one sustained note that's really high. Now, if you were to hold a very low note, as you'll know for anyone who's watched Peep Show, the longer the note, the more dread. But we're going to hold a high up note, so it's not dreadful, it's actually wonderful. So let's go and do that. Go string. And I think it's probably going to have to be the root note of the track, which will be the A flat. Sorry, the B flat or the A minor. Yeah. Like this. Ready? Ready to be blown away? Huh? Huh? That's it. That's all you need. Check it out. Maybe I'll try one lower as well, at the 5th position. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I think just the root note's good. Reverb, please. Now, let's do some arrangement. So, what I'm going to do is I'll quiet down those vocals for the time being, and we're just going to make sure that the arrangement works with the instrumental. Because if you get that working, and there's a couple of things that I'm going to have to do whilst we arrange this, over and above just arranging it, but more will become clear shortly. I'm going to do a radio edit, and I've never really shown a full arrangement here before, but I am going to today. So I'm going to map out the basics of where things are going to happen. So I think, obviously we don't want to start like that. I think we'll go for our main first drop. We're going to go for our main break just a few seconds in, like 15 seconds in, because it's a radio edit, so we need to get to the chorus quickly. But we need a bit more interest when we're starting, so I think I might start with the strings and the synths. But we're going to have to filter them down. We'll do that soon, but first I want to get the rough arrangement out first. That's better. And then we go into the first break.
Place that I've dreamed of. Take me higher. I'm soaring higher. I'm soaring.
Okay, so this is going to be our arrangement. I'm going to turn the vocals off and just make it work with just the instruments. Now, it's a good idea to get your tools lined up first, as it were. I don't know how that was a double entendre, but it is today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this filter. That's one of our main tools when it comes to our piano arrangement, because we can filter it in like this. And that's going to be really important. So we've got that. We also want that on our drums. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the kick and the bass together, as I like to do. Actually, I don't need to filter the bass because it's only the sine wave anyway. There aren't many kind of mid frequencies. So let's get the drums together. I'm going to color it dark green so I can see it's a group. And we want to get a filter on there. I'm going to use the same filter with the same algorithm. So there's a bit of grit and dirt to it because we've added some drive, which means I'll have to turn it down afterwards to make sure that we are, because look, here I'm boosting it by 4 decibels. So if we listen to our drums, we're boosting it by 4 decibels. So I'm going to drop it by 4 decibels. So it's a fair test. So now I'm just listening out to the difference in sound, which is very mild at this point, but we're adding some dirt to it with a bit of saturation basically. So if we take it down, it just sounds a bit more full. But we can still hear all these drums because it's being sent out to the room reverb before it's being filtered out. So you could actually have a filter there as well, or the other way you could get around that is within this area, you can have a room reverb that's just for the drums as well. That's another way you can get around that if that's something that you are annoyed with. Yeah, so let's finish arranging this. So we've got this as our tool, we've got the low pass filter, and that's pretty much it. That's the main stuff. But we also want one for our vocals. We definitely need a low pass filter for that. We will also need one for our riff. which we could do within the synth itself if we wanted, like this. Again, we can choose a slightly dirtier filter, add some drive. That's a really nice sound, actually. There, you can have it for free. You can download it below. Right, so now let's start building out this arrangement. We're going to have to automate this stuff. So I'm going to automate this filter to start off. Let's do this really quickly, okay? So the track can start like this. All right, calm down, dear. You're too loud. All right? You're not the star of the track. The piano is the star of the track, if anything. Okay, better. But the Take Me Higher is kind of the hook. So I revoke what I said. I just got, you know, shocked by how loud she was. Right. All right, so now let's open this filter up over time.
Dreamed of a hideaway, a kingdom rich with your illusion. Take me higher, take me higher. I'm soaring, soaring higher. I'm soaring, soaring, I'm soaring.
No. That's the drop. That's all we need. Simple, simple, simple. Okay, let's try that again. And I'm going to arrange it as I go now. The vocals are a bit of a mess, but we'll just do what we can. Nice! Right, now I'm going to bring these synths in and the strings again. But just mixing as I go. Do, 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 do. No. The vocals need more work. And then vocals will come in there again. So that's what you want for a vibe, basically. You just want to repeat the same thing, but then using the filters and removing other elements is how you create the different vibes. So you can have a part in the track, the main break, for instance, where you've basically just got this. And this is where all the tension will build. You haven't got loads of different instruments, you've just got this moment. Whoops, don't hit the thing, Will. Don't hit the thing. Like so. No, came in too soon. Too soon, Junior. Do, 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 do. Yes. Obviously we need to do more work. It's not bad for a 5-minute arrangement. Tease. Okay, I'm going to do a bit more work on this, and then this is the final result. But first, let's go through the 5 secrets before I play the final result. 1. Simplicity is key. We don't want to be overcomplicating things, confusing people. A simple syncopated beat, or rather a simple syncopated rhythm of your main piano chords or your main synth playing against your kick drum is the most important thing. So that's the first 2 points. Simplicity is key and syncopation is key. That's what creates the groove. Next thing is open and extended chords is exactly what you need for this kind of piano house. So you want to be using 7ths and 9ths and maybe even 11ths in your chords, but then you can spread them over a couple of octaves to keep those frequencies open and to avoid your piano chords sounding too mushed up, as it were. Next is to use old school sounds. So I'm using a piano sound that's been used for decades. There's nothing quite like a nice crispy M1 piano to create that really piano house vibe, and you can use it in all sorts of genres. It doesn't have to be like bog standard piano house. That piano sound works in any genre of dance music. And finally, using really uplifting vocals can absolutely transform a track from sounding great to sounding amazing. So those are the 5 secrets of this kind of uplifting house music, but they can also be used for pretty much any style of house music. So without further ado, here is the final result, which you can download below, and we're going to listen to it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Won't you take me to a place that I've dreamed of?
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to achieve things like Adam here, who's hit his first 100,000 streams on a single track in just under 6 months, and Hong, who since joining us on the Accelerator has signed with some amazing labels, some of which have also reached over 500,000 streams on Spotify. So if you want to achieve stuff like that with your music and you want us to help you, click the link below, fill out the form, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Now, in the meantime, if you want to know how to remix any track, the video that's popping up here has been doing very well. We go into some really interesting insights. Remixing is a very important skill to learn as a music producer. So thank you for watching. I'll catch you over at the next video.